My name is Angujoni, and this is John Obell channel. Today we are talking to somebody who has traveled from all over the world and is here with us in Australia. He's just going to tell us where he's traveled from and how he made that decision to come to Australia. Welcome to my show.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Hassan Saradi, my name. My family is originally from Palestine, but I was born and raised in Jordan. I came here just over 8.5 years ago now,
Yep.
almost 9 years, to Australia and from Jordan, from Amman, from the capital. And I arrived to Newcastle in Australia, and I've been living in Newcastle since then.
Okay, what made you come to Australia?
Basically, so I'm a doctor.
Yes.
I studied medicine in Jordan.
Yep.
And during my 6 years of studying medicine in Jordan,
Yep.
I'm kind of thinking about what I want to do afterwards and where I want to do my training.
Yep.
Australia was one of the options.
Yep.
I actually came here as a medical student in 2008 to Brisbane in Queensland. And spent two months there, and I loved it. I just saw how the system is here in terms of training for doctors, and just the combination of work and lifestyle at the same time. Where in our field in medicine, it's basically mainly in the States and Europe. They concentrate more in work. Like they work 60 hours a week and 70 hours a week. When I came to Australia and I realized the balance between work and lifestyle, I decided
And family.
and family. So that's what lifestyle is like. They're kind of concentration of you need to work hard, you need to be a very productive part of the society, but at the same time they want you to spend time with your family. They want you to be happy at home, because the happier you are at home, actually the better you perform at work. And I decided this is exactly what suits
This
me
is what you want,
and what I wanted. So I finished there, did all my medical kind of qualification exams there, and then I came here to finish my training.
Okay. So, did you work in Jordan before?
I worked
coming
for
here?
about a year and a half in Jordan. When we graduate from medical school, the first year is called internship. It's kind of you're basically just finding your feet as a doctor. I did that in Jordan and another 6-7 months there before coming here.
Okay. So, just wondering, why did you decide to come to Australia to work as a doctor? And we have hospitals in Jordan where you could
True.
work,
As I said, look, working in Jordan was good initially, but the problem with it in terms of exposure, I wanted to do surgery. So basically, in terms of the quality of training, the hours here is definitely better. The other thing is pay, to be honest. Like as a junior doctor in Jordan, where I'm from, or where I would have done my training, you wouldn't be paid well enough to actually maintain a family on your own there. So that was one big reason. But the two major reasons is one, the quality of training, the hours, as I talked about. So in Jordan, like the year and a half I did there, you basically start work at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. You finish at 4 p.m. the following day.
That's long hours of work.
Very, very long hours of work. In here, there's no such thing. Like you work hard, but it's definitely not as hard as there. So basically, that was the two major decisions.
Okay, so who made that decision to come out of Jordan to here? Was it your parents or you?
No. It was my decision.
It was your decision?
I wanted to have good training. As a junior doctor, again, you'll need to go somewhere else. And the options from Jordan is 1, Europe, 2, States, and 3, Australia. Basically, the three bigger. Europe, other than the UK, you need to get a third language, basically, because in Jordan we speak Arabic, and then English is the second language. So anywhere you want to live in Europe, you kind of need a third language, which would be a challenge. Other than the UK, the States is the lifestyle. Again, like I had a brother who was training in the States when I was finishing my medical school, and he used to work 80 hours a week. Basically.
Did you get any challenges when you arrive here? Mainly, it's normally the language, but like you said, you speak English, so the language was not really a barrier. Did you have any other challenges when you arrived in Australia?
Definitely. Look, the major challenge was like I wanted to come here straight away. I spent about a year and a half just kind of getting all the exams and the stuff. So getting into here and finding a job was a major challenge.
Yep.
But once we passed that bit, arriving here, although it was something that I've been looking forward for at least 2.5 or 3 years to come here, even like as a medical student, I started thinking and planning to come here. It was definitely a bit of a shock initially because like you kind of aim for something and then you just been waiting on it, excited. You don't really think about all the aspects of it because you're just excited, I want to do this thing.
And it's not happening immediately.
Yeah, it's not happening immediately. It takes a while, but then arriving here, so I was married when I came here. My wife was actually she was about 3 months pregnant. Arriving here, we had enormous support from so I worked for Hunter New England Health. They actually, because we came from overseas, they actually like booked accommodation for us in a 4-star hotel in Newcastle here for the first 2 weeks until we find the challenge. So basically, when you come here, a lot of people find the language a big issue. But for me, because I studied medicine in English, English is a really it's big in Jordan. Like almost everybody speaks English, and I've been studying English since primary school. So language was not an issue, but still with the accent, it was a bit of kind of because it's a different Australian accent.
It's really different. And the Australia have got lingo, which sometimes throw us away.
Exactly. So that was a challenge, but it wasn't as big. The bigger challenge is just adjusting to the system here. Arriving here, you need to kind of do everything on your own. You need to find a mobile phone line. You go. The bigger challenge was to get to find a rental accommodation. Coming from overseas, I was on a working visa, which was 1 year working visa. Didn't have any rental history here.
Because they require that rental history.
I remember we had the application for the real estate rentals in the area. We would put a planner for to go and see 20 houses. And for the first week, we did that. The first weekend we arrived here, we must have seen 40 houses on that weekend and applied for all of them, the ones we liked and the ones we didn't like. Nobody looked at our application. Nobody looked at our application. And then you get more inspections during the week, which is not as much as the weekend. Again, we went to all of them, nothing. Like we apply, and I, to be honest, I understand. As a homeowner, you want somebody who, when you know they're going to pay the rent, they've got a referral, they've got a rental history. So I do understand why do homeowners want, when you've got 20 applications for your house with, most of them got history and references, with one who you know nothing about, whose name is foreign, looks foreign, coming from overseas. All right, yes, he's a doctor, but still, I know nothing about this guy. Is he going to pay? Is he not going to pay? His contract is only goes for a year. So that was the biggest challenge.
Did they tell you why you didn't get this accommodation?
No, you don't get that. I actually offered to pay 6 months in advance. I offered to pay for a couple of houses that we really liked, like $10 or $20 a week extra. No, nothing. So it took us about towards the end of the second week, actually, where we were in the accommodation, where we went to an inspection. Luckily, we were the only one in the inspection, so we were the only applicants, and that was the house we got.
you got that.
So I think that was lucky, and talking to a lot of people who come here, I think this is the one biggest challenge that people find is at least we knew the system to look for. A lot of people come here and have no idea because every country is different. In Jordan, you actually go to the real estate agent, and the real estate agent will take you around to different properties to see them.
So you pick what you want.
Exactly. So basically you pick what you want. But here it's actually different. You go to an open house. What's an open house? Why do they open their house? So basically you just don't understand all this. So that was a big challenge. Leaving all your family behind. For me and my wife, we're pretty close to both of our families, and because we lived there for almost 3 years before moving here after getting married as well. It was missing home was a big thing initially, and for me, because I was working 40-50 hours a week and leaving my wife home behind all the time, it was hard on her initially. Luckily, we live in an era where internet is available everywhere, so you call them every time you miss them, and we actually we go back home every year. We go and visit the family, and especially having kids. We've got 2 kids now. It's really good to keep that relationship with the grandparents and the cousins.
So in the community, you've received those challenges of looking for accommodation that's there. In your profession as a doctor, what are the challenges you get there?
I don't want to go into a lot of details in terms of kind of medical details, but yeah, no, coming in here from medical background in Jordan, although medicine is really good in Jordan, like it's one of it is a third world country, but it's still medicine is pretty good, and all the doctors back in Jordan are really good. But coming here, it's just completely different system. Like you come here, the way you see the patients, the way you talk to the patients, the way you take a history from the patients, and then as a junior doctor, you present that to your boss, your senior colleague, the way you order investigations, and because in Jordan it's kind of more of a privately, like where I work in the private sector. In here, you're in the government, like it's a government sector, which is like with Medicare, and it's available to everybody. Everything is different, like the regulations and the rules are very different. So that was a big challenge, and I remember the first few weeks, like you kind of really lost in the hospital. Like you know the science and you know all the information, but it's just how do you correlate that with the patient, with the consultant, that needed a lot of work and reading and studying initially, just to get to know all the guidelines and the protocols and how the system works here. But again, I think language was probably, and I still see it now, is still different, because you take history in Arabic in Jordan, and now here you have to take history in English. You know all that concept, but you just it was a bit different.
That sounds really very challenging as well. But now I just wanted to know if coming here, did you find lots of Jordan food?
Yeah, so food was another thing actually. I forgot to talk about food. Anybody who knows me know how much I like food. And if you want anything from me, you just drive me through food, and then I'll do anything for you. Food was a big challenge initially, especially in Newcastle, and 8-9 years ago. There's it's more available now, but it was different. Like and even until now, if we want to do proper like grocery shopping, the specific stuff that we want, the Jordanian stuff, we go down to Sydney. But yeah, in terms of restaurants, there wasn't anything here. In terms of specific Jordanian, so we had to kind of learn all these new recipes to cook at home that with new ingredients that like you just make with what you can get. So that was a challenge, and probably if I want to give an advice to people who come here, there are communities, and in Australia, one of the best things about Australia is how multicultural it is. Wherever you go, you'll find somebody, at least if not exactly where you're from, is from a country that's very similar to it, where they can advise you into where you can, where you get your cultural kind of the common cultural things with where in terms of food is one of them. So yeah, we knew a couple of families here, and they actually told us where to go and shop. And luckily, Lebanese is a big community in Australia, where
especially in Sydney.
Especially in Sydney. So basically, Lebanese grocery is pretty similar to the Jordanian one. So yeah.
Okay. So for somebody who's coming from Lebanon, coming here, don't worry, there's food.
There's plenty of Arabic food now, and actually Australians love Lebanese and Arabic food.
Do you cook yourself? Did you have to learn how to cook?
Well, we do actually. We had to learn a few things, and again, with the internet, you find all the recipes that you want. My wife is a really good cook, which makes me look bad, because whatever I cook is not as good as hers. But yeah, we had to learn a lot of things from internet, and actually from talking to the family.
So somebody who's wanted to come to Australia as a skilled worker like you, like not really in your profession, but in general, somebody who want to come from Jordan or all over the world, come to Australia, what do you advise them?
So basically, the first advice would be is learn the pathway of how you come here. One of the best things about Australia is when you come as a skilled immigrant, there's a very good chance of getting Australian citizenship, which will give you, will give you a lot of advantages. So basically, you need to learn the pathway, and every pathway is different. Every professional is different. And even in medicine, there's like heaps of different pathways. So you need to learn the pathway, read it. It's all available online on the immigration website. So if you come in on a skilled visa, learn how you can convert the skilled visa into a permanent residency and subsequently into a citizenship. So you need to learn the pathway. That's my advice. Two is research where you're going for. So if you're a skilled immigrant, I'm assuming you'll have a work sponsor to sponsor your visa in a city or town. So learn where you're going. These days on Facebook, there's different communities in different countries. In different towns in Australia. So basically, you just go and find more where you're going. Plan ahead in terms of where you're going to stay for the first 2 to 4 weeks until you find rent.
You have now that experience because you.
Exactly. And everything is online now. There's all this like domain on real estate where you can just go and it actually makes a plan for you and go and visit. Try and find somebody from where you're from in there. In where you're going, and they will give you an advice in terms of where to start. But the biggest advice would probably just be like find the pathway of your kind of how to convert your skilled immigrant visa into a permanent residency, into a PR, because then it gives you all the advantages of of being here.
That's good. Now, somebody who's coming from Australia to Jordan, where do they?
From Australia to Jordan.
To Jordan, where can they go? What type of animals are there to see? Like a tourist, basically.
Look, Jordan is very, very, very different than Australia in terms of culture and just the nature. Basically, Amman is the capital of Jordan, so you will fly from Australia. There's no direct flights. You'll just have to fly either through the Far East or like Singapore and Bangkok, or you just go through the Gulf. And then with 2 flights, you'll be in Amman. It takes about 21 hours with transit time to get there. It's very safe to start with in terms of it is in the middle of a lot of conflict zone area in that region, but Jordan itself is very safe. There's a lot of historical places to see in Jordan. So the Ottoman Empire was in Jordan for many years, and before that it was the Romans. So you go and see all these beautiful, really, really, really old, like we're talking about thousands of years old historic places. We've got Petra, which is...
is it Princess Petra, was it?
Petra is a small city.
Oh, it's like a small city,
where they've got that it's I can't remember. I don't really know how many thousand of years it's been built, but it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. And if you look it up, Petra is one of the best places to see in Jordan. The Dead Sea, which is the lowest point on Earth, is in Jordan. As well, so it's the saltiest. It's very salty, basically. In there, there's no sea creatures in the Dead Sea. It's where I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures. It's where you just float because it's just so salty. And they've got the mud, which is good for your skin. We've got Jerash, which is another city up north, where again the Roman Empire was there, and you can see a big Roman city there with all the like columns, and there's like a street of columns in there, and all the castles. So historically is very different. Going down south, we've got a valley called Wadi Rum. Actually, they've filmed a lot of movies there because the nature is actually. They think it's close to Mars, like it's very desert, and it's like it's sandy, and the sand is kind of rose sand. They actually filmed a lot of movies there in Wadi Rum, where you can go camping there. In terms of sea and swimming, we've only got a small gulf on the Red Sea, where you can actually go diving and snorkeling there. But probably these are the best places to see in Jordan. In terms of animals, we don't really have a lot of, like we've got a couple of native animals there, but you wouldn't be wanting to go there for animals. It's just the historic and all these like ancient cities that have been built thousands of years
They have
ago.
camels, which is everywhere.
We do have camels, which is everywhere.
Okay. Have you specialized in any?
So I started surgical training here, but then I've moved into getting into medical administration field since then.
Okay, so that's a very good journey, Hassan. Dr. Hassan, you've told us, and you've also advised people who really want to come here that they should plan in advance before they come here, which yourself you didn't do. No, you which you got that experience. So now somebody else who want to come here, if you watch this video, Dr. Hassan have said you have to plan early in advance so that you plan for your accommodation and try to make your network with people so that they can try and take you or show you
one of
what
the other
to
things
do,
actually which I did and I forgot to mention, a lot of people just find it a bit hard to bring money with them in here. And what I did is you open a bank account in Australia online from where you're coming from. You transfer your money into that bank account. You don't have access to it until you physically come here. To here. So what we did actually, we opened the bank account with the specific bank from Jordan, transferred some money into it, ordered the ATM card, like the EFTPOS cards, and then we arrived. I remember we arrived on a Thursday evening, and then on Friday morning we drove from Sydney to Newcastle, went to the bank. Within 10 minutes, we just showed them the ID documents, and they gave us, myself and my wife, the bank card. And immediately you've got the money there in the bank. You can straight away start using it. So that's another good advice.
That's a good advice.
Now, you don't have to worry about bringing cash with you. One is you can bring more than 10,000. Well, you can bring more than $10,000.
You can bring 9,900.
Yeah, but who wants to carry that much money with them? And but you can do that all ahead. Like it takes a couple of weeks, I think, to open the bank account. But once you land here, you bring your IDs with you, and it opens within 10-15 minutes.
Oh, that's
and you've got your cards ready to collect from the bank.
That's really good. So when you're opening this bank account in Jordan, do you have to show it? Do you have to upload your documents?
You do that all online.
Online.
You do that all online. So you go to whatever bank you want. You want. Like we went with Commonwealth Bank when we did ours. But you just go to their website and just there was a specific way of opening the account while you're overseas for overseas travelers or like people coming recently from overseas. You just go online. It will tell you exactly what to do and what to upload. It doesn't take long at all. It was really simple. And the bank is actually active. You can transfer money into it. You just can't access it when you come here until you go to the bank, show yourself, sign,
documents,
we'll do all the documents face to face there.
Okay, so they accepted your document because you still didn't have any Australian documents. So
no, it was all my overseas, my Jordanian passport, my driver's license, my bank card that it was in Jordan, everything. Like they just accepted the stuff from there. Like it's actually a specific bank account for people who were not living in Australia at the time of opening, and for like non-Australians as well.
Okay. Do you have a lot of doctors from Jordan here?
We do actually. We do. There's a lot of I know at least 7 or 8 doctors from Jordan, and actually didn't really know them before. Like they didn't know them in Jordan. Like we met here.
You met here.
There's quite a few in here.
Okay. Did you go through? I forgot to ask this question earlier. I should have asked earlier. How did they find you to come to Australia?
I found them.
You found them.
Well, that was the first challenge. So basically, I knew I wanted to come here. It's coming more difficult now because there's more medical students graduated from Australia. But when I came in 2012, the amount of jobs for doctors in Australia were more than the amount of medical students that get graduated every year. So basically there was a shortage in the market of doctors. It's becoming more and more difficult because they're filling these positions from the Australian graduates. But now what's happening is moving out to the rural regions. They're still short staff there. So basically what you do is you graduate, you have to register with the APRA, which is Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency, and they've got a specific, so you have to pass an English exam, you have to pass a medical exam as well. Once you're eligible for registration there, without an Australian experience, you actually have to find a hospital who's short-staffed, who wants you. You do the interview, you get an employment through them, and they sponsor you for the visa. And the way I did it is, which is quite different now, is you come in. I was on a working visa for a year and a bit until I was eligible to apply for a permanent residency. And once you get your permanent residency, you're free to work wherever you want.
Okay.
But that it's still in terms of the process of coming here with APRA, with the Australian Health Regulation Agency. You start with limited registration, which
Yeah.
is you're sponsored by a specific employer, a specific hospital or an area health, and then once you pass your exams and you have a 1 year of experience in different fields in medicine, surgery, and emergency, you actually apply for full registration. And once you've got full registration,
Okay.
you can work wherever you want.
So you still have to do the exam.
You still have to
convert
do,
your medical,
yeah.
to
Basically,
Australia.
because
Yeah.
every country in the world has their specific medical, Australian,
okay.
like the medical council examination to kind of recognize your medical degree in Australia or in whatever country you're applying to. So in the States, they call the USMLEs. In Australia, it's called the AMCs, so the Australian Medical Council exam. So there's two parts of it.
Okay.
And once you do both parts and work here, you're eligible for full registration.
Good. Well, we've been talking to Dr. Hassan from Jordan, and this is John Obell channel. We've actually had good advice that you can really open your bank account from wherever you are, so you can access your money here. Because I had the other time somebody was trying to pay his taxi fee with money from
overseas money. No, that's not gonna work.
From overseas. It didn't work. But now we've got a very good advice from Dr. Hassan that you can really open your bank account from overseas and access your money here in Australia, and you can 10 minutes it takes to start using your money. Also from Dr. Hassan we got that you must, before you come here, you get the networks from people from your country so that they can show you around, and they can show you where you can buy your food and some other stuff which from your own country. So thank you, Dr. Hassan, to telling us this kind advice. I hope people will be watching this video will get more advice from you, especially skilled immigrant, and what they really need to do. This is a very good advice from Dr. Hassan, and we really thank you for taking your time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.